I begin this poem, I'd like to ask you all to join me in a moment of silence in honor of those who died at the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, September 11, 2001. I'd also like to ask you to offer up a moment of silence for all of those who were harassed, imprisoned, disappeared, raped, tortured, or killed in retaliation for those strikes. For the victims in both Afghanistan and the U.S. And if I could just add one more thing. A full day of silence for the tens of thousands of Palestinians who have died at the hands of U.S.-backed Israeli forces over decades of occupation. 6 months of silence for the 1.5 million Iraqi people, mostly children, who have died of malnourishment or starvation as a result of an 11-year U.S. embargo against the country. And now, again, the drums are moving. Before I begin this poem, 2 months of silence for the blacks under apartheid in South Africa, where Homeland Security made them aliens in their own country. 9 months of silence for the dead in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where death rained down and peeled back every layer of concrete, steel, earth, and skin. And the survivors went on as if alive. A year of silence for the dead in Vietnam. A people, not a war. For those who know a thing or two about the scent of burning fuel, their relatives' bones buried in it, their babies born of it. A year of silence for the dead in Cambodia and Laos, victims of a secret war. Shh. Say nothing. We don't want them to learn that they were dead. 2 months of silence for the decades of dead in Colombia, whose names, like the corpses they once represented, have piled up and slipped off our tongues. Before I begin this poem, an hour of silence for El Salvador, an afternoon of silence for Nicaragua, 2 days of silence for the Guatemaltecos, none of whom ever knew a moment of peace in their living years, 45 seconds of silence for the 45 dead at Actial, Chiapas, 25 years of silence for the 100 million Africans who found their graves far deeper in the oceans than any building can poke into the sky. There will be no DNA testing or dental records to identify their remains. And for those who were strung and swung from the heights of sycamore trees in the south, the north, the west, 100 years of silence. For the hundreds of millions of indigenous peoples from this half of right here, whose land and lives have been stolen in postcard perfect plots like Pine Ridge, Wounded Knee, Sand Creek, Fallen Timbers, or Trail of Tears, names now reduced to innocuous magnetic poetry on the refrigerator of our consciousness. Before I begin this poem, you want a moment of silence. You mourn now as if the world will never be the same, and the rest of us hope to hell it won't be, not like it always has been. Because this is not a 911 poem. This is a 910 poem. This is a 99 poem. This is a 98 poem. This is a 97 poem. This is a 1492 poem. This is a poem about what causes poems like this to be written. And if this is a 9/11 poem, then this is a September 11th poem for Chile, 1973. A September 12th poem for Stephen Biko in South Africa, 1977. A September 13th poem for the Brothers in Attica Prison, New York, 1971. A September 14th poem for Somalia, 1992. This is a poem for every date that falls to the ground in ashes. This is a poem for the 110 stories that were never told. This is a poem for the 110 stories that never made it into the textbooks. 110 stories that CNN, BBC, New York Times, and Newsweek ignored. This is a poem for interrupting this program. Still, you want a moment of silence for your dead. We could give you lifetimes of empty, unmarked graves, lost languages, uprooted trees and histories, dead stares on faces of nameless children. Before I begin this poem, we could be silent forever, or just long enough to hunger for the dust to bury us. And you would still ask us for more of our silence. If you want a moment of silence, then stop the oil pumps. Turn off the engines and the televisions. Sink the cruise ships. Crash the stock markets. Unplug the marquee lights. Delete the instant messages. Derail the trains and the light rail transit. If you want a moment of silence, then put a brick through the window of Taco Bell and pay the workers for wages lost. Tear down the liquor stores, the townhouses, the jailhouses, the White Houses, the penthouses, and the Playboys. If you want a moment of silence, then take it. Now, before this poem begins, here in the echo of my voice, in the good steps before the second hand, space between bodies in embrace. Here's your silence. Take it, but take it all. Don't cut in line. Let your silence begin at the beginning of cry.